Hi folks, and welcome to my review of Lost on Mars, the second of the 3 originally planned Far Cry 5 DLC. And if you want to watch my entire playthroughs of all 3 of these DLC, then check out the links below to my Let's Play channel and you can watch the whole stories play out on there. But is Lost on Mars worth it? Is it any good, and should you go out and buy it? Well, I can answer that question with one simple answer: no. No. It's a load of bollocks. In my opinion, it is easily the worst of the 3 Far Cry 5 DLC currently available, and you shouldn't buy it. And that's as much as you need to know. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed the review. But if you do want to find out more on why I feel like this, then watch on. So, Lost on Mars features 2 of Far Cry 5's main game characters in this part of the story. There's Nick Rye, the pilot, who, as a character in the main game, I quite liked. And there's Herc, who was annoying as hell. And guess what? Even more annoying in this one. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So, basically, Herc has gone to Mars, so he can try and have sex with an alien computer. Don't ask me how that's supposed to work. I know that sounds crazy, but that is pretty much the gist of the story. Only something's gone a little bit wrong. Herc's been chopped into several pieces. He's still alive though. His head still works fine. You've got to try and help him find the rest of his body. Meanwhile, this AI computer up there is trying to supposedly prevent an invasion of Earth by a load of bugs and arachnids. It does feel very Starship Troopers. You basically go up there, find all Herc's body parts, and deal with these arachnids. Well, maybe there might be a twist coming in the story later on, but that's how the game plays out. You run around Mars with Herc talking in your ear whilst you shoot loads of bugs. But the idea is that you have to find these energy cores, which you get from taking down the Queen bugs, and then you use those to fire up towers and consoles and other things, and basically turn Mars back on. It's got this weird alien production ring thing going up there, creating robots and stuff, which will supposedly create an army to defeat the evil bugs. And if you're waiting for me to tell you what else goes on with the plot and the story, well, you'll be pretty much disappointed, because that's about it. You basically run around Mars looking for Herc's body parts, legs, torso, yeah, and his cock as well. Let's not forget his cock. He won't let you forget his cock. He's constantly talking about it over your shoulder the entire time you're trying to play the game.
That's her. That's her. That is a spacecraft.
Do we... hang on a minute.
I know. I'd recognize that ugly face anywhere.
Right, I've retreated to a safe distance.
Somewhere looking like a gigantic breaded chicken cutlet.
So the plot and the story is pretty weak, but hey, we don't hold that against any game, because if the gameplay and action is fun, that's fine. I mean, look at Far Cry 5. The main story was actually pretty terrible, but the actual gameplay action was fantastic, and it turned into one of my favourite games of 2018. As for the audio and graphics, I was fairly happy with both of those. The visuals are nice. It does look like what I imagine a Martian landscape to look like, minus a few bugs. However, a Martian landscape is pretty bland from the pictures I've seen on NASA's website, and I guess there's just not a lot there to spice things up with. So whilst the visuals are absolutely fine, and for the most part pretty good, there's not a lot of variation to see. And this is compounded by the fact that there aren't enough special effects on the weapons. There's not enough explosions. We need explosions and fire in a Far Cry game. The sound was absolutely fine. Everything was nice and clear. But again, nothing amazing really to write home about.
Oh, she is mega pissed, dude. She looks like my mom after this one time when I posted a photo of her taking a shit online. Oh man, it was a funny picture though. My mama, her face was so red and it just looked like she was so focused.
But I didn't have any issues with performance at all whilst playing and recording this, so that is a good thing. So what exactly is Lost on Mars trying to achieve? Well, the gameplay is very mundane and bland from the outset, and the plot is certainly nothing to talk about. The only thing it's really got going for it, or the only thing I think it's trying to put in place, is this humorous interactivity between Herc and Nick, the main character. And you know what? It doesn't pull it off at all. What it really achieves is just to really piss off the player, because Herc just will not shut up. Just won't shut up. It's constantly coming out with line after line after line after cheeseball line. Brobocop.
I am fucking Brobocop, man.
Oh,
half
what?
man, half robot, all party machine. Oh my god, I need some theme music.
I've got to say, game would be more pleasant without this pillock narrating on everything that we have to do.
Possible for me to do anything dumb for like a long time, man. Like statistically, that's a fact, right?
Bloody move, Herc.
Okay, I've had enough of that conversation going on.
You sit on top of that.
Mr. Fix-It and robots sure do have a knack for malfunctioning. Oh, Herc starts talking. I'm so sick of them two.
She told me that.
And at the start, some of these are pretty funny, but when you're in the thick of the action and it's just constantly going on and on and on, it's like someone yabbering away in your ear hole, driving you mad. And seriously, I thought about just trying to turn it off, because at some point it just got to me and it just made the whole game unfunny. So at least I think that's what the game was trying to achieve, give you this really humorous episode to the Far Cry 5 story. But if that's what it was trying to achieve, I think it's failed miserably. But there are other aspects about it which really helped it fail. I mean, if I had to sum it up why I thought this game was actually bad, the very simple reason is it's not Far Cry. It misses out on a lot of the things that made Far Cry 5 really good fun. For example, there's no explosions. The gunfire in the game, it's all sort of laser blasts and laser beams. Nothing ever really blows up. Nothing goes boom. Nothing sets on fire. Nothing's flashy. There's no vehicles to drive around in, missing a good opportunity perhaps for some Clutch Nixon Mars rover style stunt courses. But no, there's none of that. There are some Clutch Nixon jumpsuit stunts, which are extremely difficult. Failed. You must stay in the air. That was good. I enjoyed that one. There was opportunity to put the vehicles in there, and they didn't. That would have been nice. That was one of the key things I liked about Far Cry 5. So we're missing out the explosions and the vehicles, setting things on fire. Oh yeah, yep. These were all things that attracted me to the main game. There's no takedowns. There's no sneaking up on anything and taking down enemies. There's no stealth in this. None at all. It doesn't work on the alien bugs. And the other thing about these alien bugs is that every time you walk across the soil on Mars, one of these monsters appears and starts attacking you, which does kind of make you have to plan your route around the map very carefully. But that's how they work. They travel underground. It's basically Tremors in space. You've seen that film, right? Big worms coming up from underground as soon as someone walks across the soil. Yeah, that's pretty much how these work. Oops. Okay, so they don't... There really is no time to waste. When you're on that sand, it draws these guys in. There's another one right there. So it's almost like... Is that a big one?
Oh, what's shooting you?
Holy crap. But all of my favourite features from Far Cry 5 are just gone. The variety of the weapons, the ability to stealth, the ability to mess around in vehicles, to blow stuff up, to set stuff on fire. All of that was pretty much still there in Hours of Darkness, the Vietnam and first DLC for Far Cry 5. All of that is missing from Lost on Mars. Also, the weapons don't really feel like they have a huge amount of variety. You unlock new weapons not by picking them up and locating them, but by harvesting credits, essentially, from the corpses of aliens that you've slain. And then you can use these in 3D printers, which are typically found at the top of towers that you have to go and turn on, these beacons. And then if you've got enough credits, you can use them to print out a new gun. The Nut Hugger is still locked. The Taser Spazer Annihilator, like the Laser Blazer, plus a few more Asers. Well, you get new types of laser pistols and laser rifles, which some are like assault rifles. You even get laser shotguns. Don't ask me how that works, but it does. And laser sniper rifles. Sniper rifle, I think, was the best overall weapon in this. Even the starting pistol was pretty damn good. The trouble is, none of them feel like variety. They all feel like the same thing, or variants on the same thing. Nothing feels flashy. Nothing feels particularly stylish. It's just a continuation. Some of them have very limited range, some of them do more damage, yeah, but it's just like shooting out laser bolts. It doesn't feel different, the experience isn't different, and it's kind of disappointing. And if there isn't enough variety in the weapons, then there certainly isn't enough variety in the bugs that you spend the entire game shooting. Yeah, you get different types, you get different colours, but pretty much it all boils down to feeling like the same sort of encounter time after time after time. The Queens are a bit tougher because they're harder, they do more damage, they've got more hit points. but you can outsmart them and you fight them in pretty much the same way. The bugs all have weak spots on their back, which you can use your hover suit, which actually is quite good. You have a little jetpack with a limited charge. You can jump up in the air, float across Mars because, well, there's reduced gravity. That is a good point of the game. I kind of enjoyed that. But you use your hover suit, you go up above them, shoot them down in the back, or you run around behind them. In co-op mode, your friends can distract them, or you just blast them away repeatedly in the face till they eventually go down. But it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. There's no sneaky enemies, there's no clever enemies. It's just the same old thing all throughout. So once you've played for 15 minutes at the start, you're pretty much set for the entire game and you know how the encounters and fights are going to go. You do get flying variations of these bugs, which will sometimes, you won't realise they're there, but they're attacking you from a distance and you have to look up in the sky and figure out what the hell's going on. Got him. At last, there's another one. But overall, yeah, meh. There's just no excitement amongst the fights and the encounters until you get to the end, and then things are a bit different. But the ending of the game is just way too abrupt.
And that's it.
Is that it? It lines you up for this huge, massive, epic fight, and when it comes, I found it really disappointing. I won't say what it is, because it's a bit of a twist in the story. Some of you will probably see the twist coming quite early on, but I was disappointed by the ending. And then it just cuts out, roll to credits. And you think, what? But there's some things left unanswered. And yeah, well, that was tough. Unfortunately, just kind of disappointing. I won't say too much. I don't want to give spoilers away. But, well, I suppose Far Cry 5, the main ending was shit. And this is more of the same. It takes all the elements out of Far Cry 5 that I loved, dumps them on the side of the road, and just continues with its own thing that it does pretty mediocrely. Very disappointing, I have to say. Very disappointing indeed. So there you go, folks. Don't buy Lost on Mars. Don't play it. It is a waste of your time. The only Far Cry 5 DLC worth playing is Hours of Darkness, the Vietnam one, and you can go and check the full playthrough of that over on my other channel, links in the description if you care to. So guys, I hope you found today's video useful. If you want to see more reviews like this, then just let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again on the next one.